comes from interaction that the project managers have at DOE with industry, and also some of the things that we see as development. When you look at national labs, however, you have to always remember that we do have a mission, particularly many of the labs that are the Office of Science laboratories, of really focusing on fundamental stuff. One of the things that always intrigues me is I've been to Brookhaven, and one of the things that the tour guide told me when I was going there was that with one of their cyclotrons, they were looking at what happened on a molecular basis in the first nanoseconds after the Big Bang. And this is, I'm a chemical engineer, and looking at that from a scientific basis, I can't even fathom the stuff that you're looking at. But if you are a real particle physicist, these kind of things are absolutely fascinating. And frankly, I can look at those kind of results and say, gosh, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line, that could result in some kind of knowledge that could help improve our efficiency, could help improve some industrial process. You just don't know, and that is that you can't take away from that aspect of the mission of the National Laboratory System.
Great. I think we have time for one last question. Unfortunately, there's a planned fire drill at the Department of Energy, so we're going to have to cut this off quickly. Last question is a question from Alan and Cynthia, and they're wondering, are there any restrictions on international companies kind of trying to get in the process of acquiring some of these technologies?
I can offer a bit of feedback on that one. In general, when we look at doing both partnerships with companies and licenses with companies, we're looking for initial manufacture to occur in the United States. That's what we call the U.S. Competitiveness Clause. And given that many of these technologies were, or if not all these technologies were created with taxpayer dollars, it makes perfect sense that that would occur. That being said, we work with many foreign companies. For example, I'm working with a company now that has a branch. It's a foreign-based company, but it has a branch or a branch of operations here in the U.S. So we do that. We've worked at NREL with many different foreign entities, and frankly, when you look at the markets that are developing, we hope that some of our technologies will inevitably be implemented in foreign countries. Sometimes you look at the policies that come out of the foreign countries, they may be more beneficial to the implementation of energy efficiency and renewable energy technologies. But the short of it is that we have certain statutory things that we have to comply with, and we do, but there's ways that we will still interact with foreign entities.
I would add to that, as Matt said, there's a number of multinational companies. So many companies open up manufacturing facilities just across the border in Canada or Mexico, what have you. And certainly we've seen emerge Spanish and German companies as doing an awful lot in the realm of solar, and the Italians in wind. So as the world becomes flatter, if you will, so many of the companies, whether they're determined to be American or foreign, that becomes almost not quite the accurate question when every company really can have an American subsidiary. The important part really that Matt mentioned is fulfilling the manufacturing clause and the net benefits clause, and that gets to the heart of it. Really, are we exporting our intellectual property? Are we exporting our jobs? And that tends to be made on an individual case-by-case basis. However, to get into a lab, for a foreign national to get into a lab, not getting so far as sort of the business contractual relationship, but just merely to visit, that requires just additional paperwork, and the more that a lab is focused on the nuclear arsenal, the harder it is for foreign entities to get in. There is a deal pending, I believe now, it may be finalized already, for a number of Taiwanese grad students to come and do work at Lawrence Berkeley Lab. And that opportunity, if they come with the money, that opportunity is as available to them as it is to students from Kansas or Iowa. So that's one of the reasons why Matt and I and the rest of us who do tech transfer and commercialization really want to encourage the American audience to take advantage of what's in our backyard and what really are the jewels of the Department of Energy, which is out of the field.
Great, thanks so much, Wendolyn. So we'll conclude there. I know there are quite a few questions we weren't able to get to, but we have Wendolyn and Matt's contact information up on the screen, so please feel free to contact them directly. And so that concludes our talk by Wendolyn Holland, titled Out of the Labs and Into the Market. We would like to thank Wendolyn for joining us this afternoon, and would also like to remind our listeners to please tune in to a special webinar taking place this evening from 6 to 7:30, titled Green Lighting, How Energy Efficient Lighting Can Save You Energy and Money and Reduce Your Carbon Footprint. Please join Seth Lightman, the author of Green Lighting, Build Your Own Electric Vehicle, and whom is also the series editor to the McGraw-Hill Green Guru Guide, in a conversation at Eastern Connecticut State University. Seth will discuss the benefits of energy-efficient lighting and will help launch the Neighbor Neighbor Lighting, a program with the Neighbor to Neighbor Energy Challenge, which is a community energy savings program made possible by a $4.17 million energy efficiency block grant from the U.S. Department of Energy under the Recovery Act. Over 3 years, the Neighbor to Neighbor Energy Challenge will engage residents in 14 towns, helping them to reduce their energy use by 20%. The program is administered by the Connecticut Clean Energy Fund and draws resources and experience from several other partner organizations, including Earth Markets, Clean Water Fund, EM Power Devices, and Smart Power. And finally, to conclude this talk, this talk will be made available through Yale iTunes University and also on the website at the Yale Center for Business and the Environment. We will continue to delve into new technology, business models, and finance policy options as the weeks progress. Please stay tuned for our talks that are going to be scheduled for the next couple of weeks. We'd like to thank you all for joining us at the Blueprint for Efficiency, part of the Carbon Finance Speaker Series at Yale. This is Joseph Tang from the Center for Business and the Environment at Yale, saying so long from New Haven, Connecticut.